Hi guys, welcome back to the Ed Recovery Blog YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about dealing with toxic comments around the holidays. This is the start of a little series that we're doing that's eating disorder recovery during the holidays. So our first one is going to be, like I said, dealing with toxic comments. So this can be something that can be super helpful for when you are with family members or with friends and all of the festive things that are going along. And these tips are hopefully going to help you to be able to enjoy those times a little bit more and to help keep your eating disorder out of the way from that. So our first tip is to accept that people are always going to make comments. Unfortunately, people that don't understand eating disorders are going to always make comments that can be triggering to those in recovery, and there isn't much that we can do to control those people. It's really more about controlling ourselves and being able to figure out how to get through these toxic comments without acting on behaviors during the holidays. So it's also important to remember and remind yourself that these people are not trying to be mean. They're not trying to hurt you or make a direct comment at you most of the time. They just don't understand eating disorders, and they don't understand how comments could be potentially triggering to those in recovery. So our next tip is to make note cards that you can have at the table with you or in your pocket. And these can have countering statements based on toxic things that people might say at Christmas dinner or around food in general. And so, for example, you could put on a card the statement of what someone might say that could be a potentially toxic comment, such as if someone says, "Oh, after this meal, I'm going to exercise X amount of hours." And that could be really triggering for someone that's in eating disorder recovery if you're addicted to exercise, or really just in eating disorder recovery in general. So your counter statement could be, that person is not in recovery from an eating disorder. I need to focus on myself. I need to focus on my own recovery, and this is what I need at the moment. And you can even take it a step further and say, the things that this person are saying are very unhealthy and very unrealistic, and they're likely not going to do those things. It's just unfortunately something that people just throw these statements around when they don't really mean it. And so it can be really helpful if you have a little note card or you have a note on your phone that has some of these counter statements, so then that way you can help yourself to stay recovery minded throughout the holiday season. We do actually have a blog post from last year that was about Thanksgiving, and it was giving some potential statements that people could say at the table and then countering them with a recovery minded statement. So I will definitely link that below if you guys want to take a look at that. Our next tip is to have a support person on call. So basically with this one, what we were trying to say is that if you have someone that you let them know, hey, you know, Christmas Eve, I'm going to my grandparents' house, and I know that it's going to be particularly difficult because my whole family's going to be there and we're going to be having a sit-down dinner. So you tell your friend or family member, whoever it is that you have on call, I'm going to need you between 6 and 8. And you can have their phone number queued up. You can have, be texting with them. You can excuse yourself out of the room and make a quick call or whatever it is. And you know that that person is going to be ready to help you and ready to support you when you need it in that time. And this can be super, super helpful because even if your family is not the most supportive or the people that you're spending the holidays with are not the most supportive, you can still be supported and keep that recovery-minded mindset by having someone that you're able to communicate with either through phone or through email or however you're able to do it. Our last tip is to prepare some general statements that you could possibly change the subject about if things are starting to get very focused on food or calories or exercise or whatever the case may be. Just think of some things that you can bring up that might be able to change the subject. So for example, you could bring up something that's going on in the news and ask if anyone's heard of it. Or you can bring up something that you're really looking forward to, like a concert you're going to next month. And hopefully these things will steer people from talking so much about the food and help it to be more of a present experience, so that way you can really be there and enjoy that time with your friends and family. So those are all the tips that we have today. Make sure you subscribe down below because we are going to be doing a little series on eating disorder recoveries during the holidays, and this is the first video of that, so definitely subscribe so that way you can stay tuned for the other ones, and we'll see you next time. Bye!